Hello, I'm Andrew Mull, AARP Louisiana Director of Advocacy, and welcome to another week of AARP's Advocacy in Motion. And our guest is Ann Jays. Ann is the Senior Director of Advocacy at Lighthouse, Louisiana, where she's been working for the last 6 years and advocates on the local, state, and federal levels. Ann, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me, Andrew. How you doing?
Doing great. How's your summer been going?
I have been managing as best as can be expected during coronavirus times. I think we're doing surprisingly well considering all that's going on right now. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Doing really well. Doing really well. I hear you just got back from vacation. Well, I hear it's been a little bit of time, but I did hear you got a chance to take a vacation this summer. How was that?
It was lovely. We went to the beach with my family, socially distanced, of course, and I got to see my little 2-year-old playing in the sand. And so I still have even though it's been a few weeks, I still have the strong memory to keep me through the tougher work weeks of the good time that we had together. So now I'm getting back into the swing and working hard.
Was that his first time to the beach?
It's adorable. He calls sand dirt. Like, no matter how much I tried to convince him that it's called sand, it's dirt. It was very, very sweet.
Well, in a way, he's right. I mean, it's very similar, very similar. That's very intuitive of him. So, Ann, you work for Lighthouse, Louisiana, formerly known as Lighthouse for the Blind. Tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do.
Yeah, thank you for that, Andrew. A lot of people still know us in the community as Lighthouse for the Blind because we've been in New Orleans for over 100 years now. And we have a really great reputation and people know a lot about some of the work that we do. But we changed our name a few years ago to really try to accurately reflect the full scope of work that we do now. So we are known as being a service provider for people who are blind or losing their vision and an employer for people who are blind. But we also provide services for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. We have ASL interpreters, we have equipment like hearing aids and adaptive equipment. And we also help people with all different types of disabilities get jobs. And we're not just in New Orleans anymore. We have a facility in Baton Rouge as well. So we really changed our name to reflect the full scope of the work that we do. So that's Lighthouse, Louisiana.
Cool. Any plans on expanding to North Louisiana or just right now, just Baton Rouge and New Orleans?
Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have sister agencies across the state. So Louisiana Association for the Blind in Shreveport provides similar services, and there are other organizations across the state as well.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, so what's been on the front burner for you and for Lighthouse, Louisiana? I know it's been, a very interesting summer, obviously, a very challenging summer. And so how has COVID-19 really affected not just, I guess, your organization, but just your constituency and your mission?
Yeah, thank you for that. So one of the core parts of our work is we create jobs for people who are blind by selling goods to the federal government. And that work has remained consistent throughout the pandemic. So we've instituted social distancing protocols, mandatory masks, temperature checks, all of those things to keep everybody safe. But our employees who are blind have still been really working hard to create, manufacture and package products for the federal government in response to coronavirus. So in addition to that, we've been trying to provide as many services as we can remotely using video conferencing. And then we have also started to provide one-on-one socially distanced services. So we're not back up to the full like group learning that we were prior to coronavirus, but you know, for seniors who are losing their vision, if they don't have the skills and tools, they need to be independent. That could leave them open to being more susceptible to the virus. So we're really trying to give people who need it the skills they need to be independent in their homes, so that that's most people's preference, and that they don't need to go into an assisted living facility where it might be more crowded. Something that we're really conscious of.
And they would be more susceptible because of, like you're saying, going to an assisted living or having other people assist them, that kind of thing, so coming in contact with more people.
Right. Exactly.
Well, you mentioned seniors and, you know, the wanting to live independently. I should probably also mention that you're a member of our Live at Home Louisiana Coalition, which is committed to helping more people live independently, live at home, and have alternatives to nursing homes, long-term care facilities, even assisted living. And of course, Lighthouse Louisiana is a member of the Live at Home Louisiana Coalition. Maybe just explain a little bit about why that work is important to you and to Lighthouse Louisiana.
Yeah. So one of the things that we really try to do as an organization is to give people the tools and skills that they need to be as independent as possible, so that they don't. I think for a lot of people, vision loss or hearing loss can be very scary and alienating, and so they might expect that, okay, well, I've lost my vision, I'm losing my vision, that means I have to go into an assisted living facility. But the Lighthouse really works to help you get the best of your remaining vision, and then help you build all the skills that you need to be as independent as possible. So just because you're blind, that doesn't mean you can't cook, can't clean, can't care for yourself in your own home, even though you might have to learn how to do something a different way, or you might need assistive technology in order to do that. We can teach you how to use that technology. We can teach you how to do things differently. And we even have occupational therapists who will go to your home and work on your lighting or work on organization, so that you're not keeping your cleaning supplies next to your spices, and tips and tricks like that. And so that's this basic philosophy of what we do, is helping people remain independent. And we really believe that people should have all the tools and supports that they need to be as independent as possible. And that fits right along with the mission of the Live at Home Coalition. And so we believe that there should be as much support for that as possible.
Yeah, we had a guest on a few weeks ago, and she mentioned something just as simple as they have a loved one who is still independent. She's still at home, but she's also been losing her vision. And sometimes something as simple as finding her cell phone can be a real challenge, and knowing if it's plugged in on the charger and those kinds of things. So I think there's some misconceptions that once you're visually impaired, that you're now completely dependent on others. But someone who's still impaired, whether it's visually or hearing impaired, they can still be independent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because it can be such a disorienting experience, there's a lot of potentially fear and denial with losing your vision with the natural aging process. And so Lighthouse Louisiana strives to be as open and welcoming as possible. So one of the other things that people expect about us is it's Lighthouse for the blind. And so if they're just losing their vision or their vision is changing, they're like, well, that's not for me, I'm not blind. But the truth is we've got great services, and we have a store we're doing. It's called Magnifiers and More, where we've got like large print TV remotes, or big lighting with magnified mirrors, so that that people can see themselves more easily. And we also have more high-tech equipment like CCTVs. And so these can be easy wins for people to come in and see some of the things that we can provide that make their lives a little bit easier. And then they can get more information about the other types of services that we provide. So
stores are in Louisiana, or
what's that?
these stores are in Louisiana?
So we've got a store in our New Orleans facility and in our Baton Rouge facility.
Okay.
We're doing online pickup right now, curbside pickup. So you order online and then you can come pick it up.
Okay, very cool. One thing we haven't really gotten into too much is advocacy. So advocacy, of course, is just as important as some of the other things you discussed to make improvements to services that affect everyone, including not just those that are visually impaired, like seniors, but just in general. So what type of things do you advocate for?
Yeah, so like you mentioned in my bio, we do work on the local, state, and federal level. So the work that we do is kind of twofold. The services that we provide help people become as independent as possible, or as independent as they want to be. But without the right infrastructure in place, then all of the tools and training doesn't matter. So we advocate so that to increase access to public spaces. So one of the big things that we do on the local level is transportation advocacy. We've had a really successful program with RTA to increase accessibility. So you'll hear now that they do audible announcements on the bus stops, and we've done sensitivity training for their drivers for how to best provide assistance for folks who are blind or hard of hearing or deaf. And another really exciting win that we've had on the state level that will affect infrastructure across the state. So there is a particular type of traffic signal called an accessible pedestrian signal. If you've been to other cities like DC, they're everywhere on every corner, and it chirps and it provides information about when it's safe to walk or not safe to walk. And Louisiana doesn't have many. And so one of our advocacy priorities was actually trying to build a policy within our State Department of Transportation so that when they go to work on a signal, it automatically gets upgraded to an accessible pedestrian signal. And these signals make it safer for everyone to cross the street. So not just blind or deaf-blind, but seniors, people who are new to the area, people who may not be familiar with the intersection. So that DOTD actually just passed this policy in July. So we're really excited about that win, and we think it's going to increase accessibility across the state. So we're really happy about that.
Where do we already have some of those signals? I haven't seen it in Louisiana. You said we do have some in Louisiana?
In New Orleans, we have two, and they're both on Tulane's campus. So Tulane had previously done some advocacy around that. So if you want to check them out, that's where they are currently. We're going to get more.
But basically what you're saying is now anytime there's an upgrade or an improvement made or a new signal is put in, it'll be this new kind of signal. So,
right. Okay.
So then they're not going to go out and replace all of them overnight, but as they make modifications, those new ones will go up.
Right. And so that's a great question. We're still working with the city of New Orleans to identify some high priority intersections that we can retrofit more proactively as opposed to just waiting for them to be worked on. So we're still in talks about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of a broken record on this because, just passing a policy is not necessarily the end of the road, or there's a lot of follow-up that has to be done, a lot of education that has to be done, and a lot of just continued work to make sure things are getting implemented the proper way. So it's good to hear that y'all are continuing to work with the department to make those changes. That's great. Well, then that sounds really cool too. Is there anything else on the advocacy front, or I guess there's talk of a new session here in a couple months possibly, and then of course a session next year. Are y'all still working on what issues y'all might be advocating for next year?
Yeah, we're keeping a close eye on the budget. The Lighthouse, as one of 4 agencies across the state, is the vision rehabilitation infrastructure for the state of Louisiana, and so the state funds that because they have no other infrastructure to provide these services, and we're nervous about what the funding is going to look like. So we're really paying close attention to how that shakes out.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are watching very closely as well. And this has been great. It's been a great conversation. It's great to see you again. It's been a long time, and it's just been wonderful to catch up with you. So real quickly, let's show some information about how you can contact Ann, or how you can contact Lighthouse Louisiana if you'd like some more information. There's Ann's information, her email address, ajaYes@lighthouselouisiana.org. And then, of course, you can reach Lighthouse Louisiana by calling 504-899-4501. So, Ann, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation, and I look forward to seeing you soon and seeing you back at the Capitol, or just in the other circles that we sometimes run into each other. So to our viewers, want to encourage you all to join our efforts to help advocate for folks who want to live independently and live at home. For more information, please go visit us at Live at Home Louisiana, or you can also visit us at AARP Louisiana on our Facebook or Twitter. And do y'all have a Facebook page or Twitter handle that you'd like to share?
Yes, we have both. We have amazing content on Facebook, and it's Lighthouse Louisiana. Check us out.
Very easy to remember, Lighthouse Louisiana. Well, thank you again, Ann, and thanks to those watching. We'll be back next week, next Monday. Thanks.
Thanks.